Welcome, you guys. Let me turn the music off. Not up, let me turn it off. There we go. All right. Okay, we are all here. So here's what we're going to do, you guys. We're going to start off with a bell question. I have a question for you, and I'm going to be giving you, I'm going to share my screen, and I want you to go to this website. Let me tell you what the question is so you have it in your mind. The question is, why is it important to understand the elements and principles of design and art? All right, with that in your head, that's the only question I have for you. You have 5 minutes. I'm going to share the screen. Go to join.nearpod.com and put in the CIQGW. And then I will start 5 minutes on the clock. I'm going to give you guys about 20 seconds or so to get in there and started. And then I'm going to start up the 5-minute timer. Okay, it's a really simple question. Just like to know what you think your understanding is of why they're so important to know. All right, and so you have 5 minutes starting right now. Boop. There we go. So, Peyton, I'd like to hear what your answer was to that. You know what? Let me stop the share. Sorry.
My answer is it's important to understand the elements and principles of art and design because if the person doesn't know how to do it, then they can't create art perfectly, and if they don't understand this, then it's a better chance they might not be a great graphic designer or a great artist. So it's really important to understand this stuff because without it, then you can't create art without principles and elements.
Beautifully said. You know, if you think about it, the elements and the principles are things that, you know, we use in art, but the elements of design we use all the time anyway, whether you're making art or not. When you draw, when you write, whatever, you're drawing and writing, you're creating shapes, you know, line, value, color. You're using the elements all the time without even thinking about it. The thing that's most important, though, is understanding the principles and how you use those elements, right? So I think that is the most important, is that the focus on learning what is the principles, because those elements are just there. They're the things that we use. So very nicely done, you guys. Very nicely done. What I'd like to do now, I want to share with you a website that has a product on it that I'm going to critique for you. But I'm going to demonstrate essentially the way that you would give an appropriate critique for a product. So first I'm going to critique the can itself. The can, if you just look at the can, first of all, we've got a bunch of the principles built right into it. So let's talk about the elements. I see line, I see shape, I see color, right? I mean, there's a bunch of the elements in there. In terms of the principles, let me ask Mandalay, what principles do you see being used in the can design?
I see a lot of use of topography and lots of balance between colors, and there's a lot of emphasis on the title of the product.
Great.
And everything else is kind of there, but your main focus is on the title.
So the hierarchy is clearly the ugly, right? So you see that first. If we look at the website, though, in terms of website design, when we're looking at a website, have you ever heard the term above the fold? Has anybody ever heard that term before? Probably not. Okay, so above the fold, if you think about actual newspapers, when you get a newspaper, it's folded up. The most important information that we see is that information that happens before that first fold. And that's where that term comes in, and it carries over to the website design as well. Everything above the fold on websites is everything before you start scrolling. So above the fold, they did a really, really nice job, just like on the can, of creating a hierarchy and using the space well. So if we look at the principle of space, they didn't fill every single inch of the blue area above or below. It's left open. In terms of contrast, we have the contrasting color of the type. Not only that, we've got a proportional, for the principle of proportion and scale, we've got large type and then small type. Right? So there, and even on the can itself, we've got a great example of proportion with the logo, gigantic, and then below it we got the smaller text. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes left in class, and let me check my schedule here. Oh, Taylor, I know you've been having trouble with your internet. That's okay. I understand. So for the last 10 minutes of this class period, what I would like for you guys to do is jump back onto your into your project, the Who Am I project. Okay, and please let me know if you have any questions or if you need any help with that project at all. Okay, I'm going to turn on some music so we aren't sitting in silence and you guys can enjoy it for a little bit here, and then we'll get to break, go on to the next class.
In comparison to like the background of the type and like the word that we're looking, so like we're focusing more on the typography, right, and like not the background.
A little of both. So you're demonstrating your knowledge of the elements and principles in the background, but at the same time you're going to demonstrate your knowledge of how to use typography appropriately. That's what I'm looking for.